In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how we could use the surface holes lattice option to create perforations in a model, or use it to create surface texturing on a complex surface. So firstly, I've imported this sine wave model into the Gen3D's environment. And the first thing I'm going to do is click on the model and add a solid component to this geometry. So to do this, I'm going to click on the Geometry tab and then the Solid Component option. And this will be highlighted in green. And then we'll see a solid problem component existing in the project panel on the left-hand side. Next, I'm going to click on the surface that I want perforations in. So if I just left click on the model, I select the whole model. In this case, what I want to do is just select the upper surface. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key on the keyboard and then click on the upper surface. This will open up our crease angle slider, and then we can slide this to the right or to the left to select in pink the entire surface that we want to place our holes onto. Once we have the surface selected, I'm going to navigate to the Lattice tab and click on the Surface Holes button. Here we have a number of options. Initially, we can see that the Solid button is unclicked, and this means we're going to create a negative, so in this case, holes. And what we want to do is set the offset to be in the negative direction. And we want the hole depth to then match the offset. So if I want to go all the way through this shape, I'm going to set my offset to be -5. And I'm going to set my hole depth to be the same as my offset. Next, I can set my hole spacing, which I'm going to set to 2.5, and my radius, which I will set to be 0.5. You can see a preview of where these holes will be by clicking the Update Struts option. This then creates a uniform layout of the holes across the surface. If I'm happy with this distribution of holes, I can go to my Generate panel and select a resolution that I want to solve this surface at, and then I can press Generate. And here we can see we've generated a uniform distribution of perforations over the surface. And I can export this model out of the software now as a STL or 3MF file. If I reset now and just go back to my surface hole options, we can also create positive holes to act as surface texture on the surface. So to do that, I want to flip my offset to be in the positive direction, maybe 1 millimeter. And then I can set my hole depth to be just a small distance above the surface, maybe 0.3 millimeters, 0.4 millimeters. And then because we don't want holes anymore, but we want surface protrusions, we want to then check the solid button. Now, when I generate this model, we should see some surface texturing on the top surface of the part. And indeed we do. These little balls appear on top of the surface, and I can smooth these down. And then we have some surface texturing on the top surface of the part. Again, this can be exported out of the software as a 3MF file or an STL file and sent directly to your printer for manufacturing.